You know what? The choir from the University of Cape Town, because of the accreditation, they didn't have a chance to warm up and to test the mics. So can you all do Welcome to Cape Town? I know your conductor's not yet, but just warm your voices up and get us in the mood for what we're going to do. Or you want me to start, Welcome to Cape Town? Right, just where you are, just where you are. Thank you. Can I ask you to settle down, please, ladies and gentlemen? The President is about to join us. Please, will you take your seats? Please, can you rise for the entrance of the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Ramaphosa. Please give our guests a warm round of welcome. We will sing the national anthem of South Africa, led by the University of Cape Town's choir under the baton of Maestro Karen. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa, Justice Mandisa Muriel Maya, the President of the Mother Body of the IAWJ, Justice Binta Nyako, and I acknowledge the collective leadership of the IAWJ, the Executive Board, the Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Refilwe Msweni-Tsipane, the President of the African Court of Human and People's Rights, Justice Imani Daud Aboud, the Chief Justice of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Justice Roxanne George, the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Justice Kekere Ekun, the Chief Justice of Queensland, Justice Helen Baskell. Any other Chief Justices who have since arrived, you are most welcome and you're acknowledged. The President of the South African chapter of the IAWJ, Judge President Thobo Poya Dlwati. the Honorable Mamaloka Kubaya Ngubane, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, accompanied by the Director General of the Department, Dr. Dak Mashabane. Esteemed colleagues, friends from the South African judiciary, and all judiciaries represented here today, members of the legal fraternity and academia, representatives from various government departments, and importantly, all our sponsors, civil organizations, members of the media, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, sawubona, goeiemorgen, bonjour, ututu oma, shikamua, magadang aru, namaste, biwendia, akwaba. Salam alaikum, salam alaikum. My name is Leona Theron, Justice of the Constitutional Court of this beautiful country, your host country, and it's my privilege, it's my honor, it's my singular honor, it's the highlight of my day to be the program director for this opening ceremony. The theme of this conference could not be more urgent and more vital. Women in leadership. Let me remind you, every woman that's here today from the judiciary, from outside the judiciary, you are here because you are women in leadership and you can and you're going to make a difference. I love going to work at the Constitutional Court. Why? Mainly because I serve under a truly inspirational leader, an agent of change, a judge with an acute sense of justice, and a true champion of gender equality. This term, we might have more women at the court than men. She embodies Maya Angelou's philosophy that one's mission in life should not be merely to serve, but to thrive. She does it with passion, compassion, humor, and as you can see, a great sense of style. I am talking about the first woman to be appointed as Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa. And do you know, besides all of us who recognized her talent, who recognized that she should be the leader, was the Honorable President of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa. Chief Justice, please, will you come and welcome us all to your jurisdiction? Oh, my goodness.
Phalo fulani indlebe nenhliziyo zenu kaloku ndiniqhubele kuzelwe igama elinegunya a very beautiful Chief Justice Mandisa okwamaya phakama mzi wakutsolo kuTranskei ngoba kaloku asisize senu phakama mzi kaXhosa simqhawule mXhosa vuma ukuxozwa mphini vuma ukuxoxa yini qinqa mntwana ngoba yakhuthuka amadolo kukukhasa Divumeleni kaloku ndiniqhubele Divumeleni kaloku ndiniqhubele kuzelwe igama elinegunya ngobulumko ukuze singabhubhi isibhangi isizwe sakwaXhosa ukuze singabhubhi isibhangi isizwe sikamzukaphalo yini qinqa mntwana ngoba yakhuthuka amadolo kukukhasa Khayisani ke ngezoziphiwo niye kuburhangqolo khona ukuze banifumane okhokho sizingce ngobungcali nobungcaphephe sincazelane ngobungcungela nobucukujeje sicamgce siphicote kulabhinqa lobuciko sibhubhe sizizwe sihlaziyekile indlala idlula idlakazela ingeni impho igqutheza iqukeza ndiyazayitala itanasa ndethula isidobolo ndikukhahlela ndikubusa ndisithi Chief Justice Maya, the first woman in South Africa to be appointed Chief Justice, not because she was born for it, but because she has been touched by it, the past, the present, and she dreams of the future. What makes you a Chief Justice is that you are free to make your own choices and be what you want to be. You inherited a very strong judiciary that can carry out its constitutional function without fear, favor, or prejudice. Fear not, big women. We have you now. Fear not, big women. This is not an easy journey. This is not an easy journey. Fear not, big women. Halala.
That brought a lump to my throat. Thank you, young lady. And thank you, Justice Teron, for those kind words. President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the International Association of Women Judges, Madam Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, and the Executive Board of the International Association of Women Judges, President of the South African chapter of the International Association of Women Judges, Judge President Thoba Poyotlwati of the KwaZulu-Natal Division of the High Court of the Republic of South Africa, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces of the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa, Ms. Refilwe Tsipanemtweni, President of the African Court, I did see her earlier, African Court on Human Rights and Human and People's Rights, Justice Imani Dawood Abod, the Chief Justice of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Justice Roxanne George, the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere Edun, another woman Chief Justice, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Queensland, Chief Justice Helen Bowskill, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable May Mamloko Kupai, Justice Nonkosi Zoliswa Mhlandla of the Constitutional Court of the Republic of South Africa, esteemed members of the South African judiciary and other judiciaries, members of the legal fraternity and academia, representatives from various government departments, our generous sponsors, representatives of civil organizations, members of the media, distinguished guests, good morning. On behalf of the hosts of this conference, the International Association of Women Judges, the IAWJ, and its South African chapter, the SAC IAWJ, it is a distinct honor to welcome you all this morning to this momentous occasion, which marks the 17th Biennial Conference of the IAWJ, one of its few on African soil in its 33 years of existence, and certainly the first in South Africa. We are very proud and happy to host this conference in our beautiful country and to share with you our rich cultural heritage and stunning fauna and flora. South Africa prides herself on her warm and exceptionally hospitable people, and we hope that you will feel at home during your stay in Cape Town while building meaningful connections. I wish to extend an especially warm welcome to our first citizen and most honored guest, His Excellency, President Ramaphosa. And our staunchest ally, Minister Kupai, and her indomitable team. It is a special privilege to be in the company of the tireless champions of gender equality that you both are, whose leadership has been instrumental in driving various initiatives that seek to protect the rights of vulnerable members of our society and support the empowerment of women. And we are eternally grateful to you for your consistent support and for responding so positively to our SOS about this very conference, which was almost cancelled not so long ago and would most certainly not have taken place without your intervention and financial and other critical logistical support you have provided to the SAC IAWJ. Mr. President, we are aware that there was a critical government meeting scheduled for today, which you moved to accommodate us, and that you traveled in the dead of the night in inclement weather to attend this conference. All these things you have done to support us in making this event a reality, and your presence among us against all odds not only underscores the importance of this gathering, but indeed confirms your commitment to the creation of a just and equitable society. Siyabulela kakhulu usenze abantu ezizweni, and made the women judicial officers, not just of this country, but all of the countries that are represented here, very happy. Thank you. I would also like to welcome and express our deep appreciation to our other key sponsors and collaborators, the Premier of the Western Cape Province, the City of Cape Town, and South African Tourism, who supported us in all sorts of ways, right from the inception of what seemed an impossible dream at the time, when we were still preparing the very bid to host this gigantic conference. This beautiful venue, the Cape Town International Convention Center, which granted the SAC IAWJ generous concessions, LexisNexis, Westgrow, RBeads, and many others I cannot mention for the sake of time. I also extend a warm welcome to all our speakers and all the participants who have traveled from all corners of the world to contribute to the success of these proceedings. I start by briefly explaining what the IAWJ stands for and does for the benefit of those among us who may not know. The IAWJ is a global network of over 6,500 women judicial officers from just under 150 international jurisdictions, with its headquarters located in Washington, D.C. in the United States of America. It was formed 3 decades ago by a group of brave women judges from around the world with the main objective to promote and empower women judges from all levels of the judiciaries, to uproot gender bias from judicial systems and societies, end discriminatory laws, advance gender-responsive courts, and women's access to the courts, and promote human rights for all. The local chapter of this august association, the SAC IAWJ, aligns itself with the goals of its mother body and comprises a group of women judges and magistrates, as well as like-minded male judicial officers who embrace the objectives of the professional advancement of its members and other women legal professionals and the promotion of women's and children's rights across the board. The theme for this year's conference, Resilience, Women in Leadership to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, is a powerful and relevant focus of the organization. It accords with the IAWJ's resolve to underpin all its work with a pledge to end the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. What we therefore hope to achieve in these proceedings this week is to highlight the critical role that women in leadership positions can play to address the root causes of this scourge and to develop effective strategies for its prevention and response thereto. Although significant progress has been made in the international and national efforts to combat gender-based violence and femicide, with various laws and policies implemented to address it, this social ill remains widespread with devastating consequences. Approximately 51,100 women worldwide who were killed by intimate partners or family members in 2023 pay testament to the fact that the most dangerous place for women and girls remains the home. And most shamefully, despite all the laudable policy and legislative interventions in place, many of them initiated by the president himself, South Africa has for many years now held the ignominious title of being at the very top of countries that cannibalize their women and children, and has the highest levels of gender-based violence and the plundering of its children. South Africa's latest crime statistics show over 20,000 cases of domestic violence-related crimes against women in just 2 months between October and December 2024. And in those 60 days, a staggering 11,803 cases of rape were recorded, and 2,990 more for what are defined as sexual assault and sexual offenses were reported. There is, of course, no doubt that there are many more of these cases that went unreported for the usual reasons, including fear of further victimization and a sense of hopelessness that reporting to the police will not help in any event. Right now, we are reeling from the shock at the news of the gruesome rape of a little girl, 7-year-old from Matatiele in the Eastern Cape, whose case has sparked national outrage among South Africans and clearly shows that the war against this plague is far from over. The confusion that surrounds this rape incident, which apparently occurred a whole 5 months ago in October 2024, and the dismaying fact that the perpetrator remains unidentified to date, is a sobering reminder of the challenges and weaknesses in our justice systems. And tragically, this case is just one of countless violent crimes that occur daily. And as I just said, many of these cases go unreported or do not make the news, leaving the true extent of this problem unknown. We thus have a duty to keep advocating and agitating to end this menace, to keep re-evaluating the measures in place, to determine their weaknesses and fault lines, and explore more effective ways to address and eradicate it. Gatherings of the nature of this conference are a critical component of the machinery that brings together the parties with the skills and the general wherewithal to conduct this exercise. This conference will explore various sub-themes under the broad theme, which include gender diversity and inclusion in the judiciary, workplace safety for judicial officers, sexual harassment and sextortion within judicial systems, and human trafficking. It brings together a diverse group of judges, magistrates, lawyers, and a various range of experts from around the world to share knowledge, experiences, and best practices in promoting gender equality and protecting the rights of women and children, and thus promises to be a milestone in our collective pursuit of gender equality and the advancement of women's rights in the judiciary. And we thank all of you for taking from your valuable time to participate in these important deliberations and celebrations that will foster a deeper understanding of the challenges we face in the ongoing pursuit of gender equality and the protection and promotion of human rights, and enable us to chart a path towards the attainment of these goals. The conference also serves as a platform to acknowledge the formidable strides achieved by women in this field. And on that note, it is fitting at this stage to acknowledge with heartfelt appreciation the efforts and commitment of the intrepid board members of the IAWJ and the legions of women judicial officers they lead across the world. These women who work tirelessly to advance the organization's goals and objectives against difficult odds, which have now been magnified a millionfold with the recent and most jarring change of administration at home base, the United States of America. Through their remarkable leadership, the IAWJ has created a powerful and supportive global community for women judicial officers and lawyers, providing a platform for networking, mentoring, and professional development from which many of us have benefited, including myself. The IAWJ was at the forefront of the line of women across the world who clamored for the appointment of a woman Chief Justice in South Africa, and here we are. The IAWJ has played and continues to play a crucial role in protecting and furthering the interests of women in judicial communities globally by boldly confronting and demolishing biases that have historically hindered women's progress in the judiciary. These women's contributions to these achievements have had a profound impact on the lives of many women and children around the world, and I am truly honored to call them my colleagues. In closing, I reiterate that this conference gives us a precious opportunity to explore critical issues affecting women in the judiciary and society as a whole, and I urge all of us to use this occasion to express our views frankly and engage fully in the debates. The impact of your inputs will enable the improvement and healing of society. May we have a successful, how many days is it? 4 days until Saturday. And all the best to all of us. Thank you. All right. And now the second stage of my task this morning, introducing the president of the IAWJ. And I have the distinct honor of introducing our next speaker, who will deliver the opening address and call the Role of Nations. And it is none other than the president of the IAWJ, as I've said, Justice Binta Fatimat Mutala Nyako. The name Binta is of West African origin, and it means beautiful with God and close to God. The name Fatima is of Arabic origin and means the daughter of a prophet. Put that together, and it means that we have a beautiful woman who is a daughter of a prophet and who is close to God, who is at the helm of the mother body of the IAWJ. And when you meet her, which I hope you will get a chance to over the next few days, you will realize that she was appropriately named by her parents. Justice Nyako is a trailblazer in the Nigerian judiciary with an illustrious judicial career spanning over 2 decades. She has served as a judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria since 2000, making her one of its longest-serving judges. She is widely known for her legal expertise in criminal law, constitutional, and human rights laws. Hailing from Katsina State in Nigeria, a predominantly Muslim state, and African nation where patriarchal practices and norms remain deeply entrenched, Justice Nyako has demonstrated remarkable resilience and determination in her pursuit of justice and equality, and broke down barriers which paved the way for many young women in the legal profession of that gigantic country of hers. She has held various key positions throughout her career, having served as State Counsel at the Katsina State Ministry of Justice and rising to the position of the Solicitor General of the state, where after she was appointed Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Katsina between 1983 and 1996. From 2014 to 2017, she was the Chief Judge of Bauchi State, the first woman to hold that position in the state and the first woman to lead a high court bench in Nigeria. Since her appointment as the president of the IAWJ in 2023, Justice Nyako has brought a unique perspective and wealth of experience to her role. Her commitment to championing gender equality and justice reforms globally has been evident throughout her leadership. The IAWJ has grown exponentially under her leadership, and this is reflected in the organization's increased global presence and membership, its enhanced reputation and expanded initiatives. The organization will continue to build on her legacy when she steps down and carry forward the momentum and progress she has established. Over to you, President Nyako.
Thank you. I should give you a hug. The speech of the Chief Justice now tells me that you don't believe everything you read on social media. First of all, I was not recognizing myself from what she was saying. But most importantly, I was never the Chief Judge of Bauchi State. I'm not from Bauchi State, I'm from Katsina State. So that's something in social media that tells us that we have to be very careful what we believe. Your Excellency, the President of the great, colorful country of South Africa. I see His Excellency on the television, and I see this very serious and very stern-looking person. But I met him this morning, and he's such a warm person, very friendly, and this is my own highlight of my being in South Africa, that I've met the president and I've even shaken his hand. My friend and sister, the Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa, Justice Mandisa Maya. I'm sorry if I call your names not the way protocol calls them, because in the IAWJ we actually dispense with surnames. We deal with first names. We don't deal with nomenclatures because we don't want to offend anybody's sensitivity. If we call you with your surname and we don't call you Chief Justice, or we don't call you Judge, or you may get offended. So we dispense with it, since in the IAWJ we just address ourselves with our first names. I must recognize, of course, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, my own Chief Justice, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. My friend and sister, Imani Abod, she's the president of the Court of Human Rights for Africa from Tanzania. She was also at some point a member of the board of the IAWJ. All other heads of courts here present, I may not be able to identify you, but you are all very much welcomed. Our partners in the organization of this activity, I don't have the list, but we appreciate you. I must recognize PJ. We call her JP only. That's what we call her on the planning group. She is a house full of power. You call her at any time, you email her at any time, you send her a WhatsApp, and she's replying you. So I wonder when she sleeps. But we do appreciate every member of the planning committee that made this today a possibility. The board itself has been here since Sunday. They've been having the board meeting, which is culminating in the beginning of this activity today. The theme of this year's conference, which is Resilience, Women in Leadership to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, it was not wrongly adopted. It was adopted with a lot of thoughts and a lot of considerations and debates as to what is the major problem of women that is facing the world today. So, honorable judges, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, you are welcome to this conference. It is an immense honor to stand before you today at this pivotal conference dedicated to a cause that is both urgent and transformative: the eradication of gender-based violence and femicide, and the empowerment of women
in leadership roles within our own judiciary and beyond. I will pause at this point to say I recognize the Minister of Justice for the Republic of South Africa. You see, the president got it right from the very beginning. He got it right. When you have women in leadership positions within the law arena, then you have gotten everything right. And we must not forget that women multitask. We are the greatest multitaskers in the world. So the two women occupying the highest echelon of the judiciary and justice sector cannot be wrong, will always be right. So as we gather in this esteemed forum, we are acutely aware of the profound challenges that women face, challenges that are not merely personal, but deeply systemic. Gender-based violence and femicide is not just a statistics. It is a reality that affects millions of women worldwide, undermining their dignity, health, and potential. It is an affront to our shared values and our collective progress as a society. We have seen how resilient women have become in the face of adversity. Resilience is an intrinsic quality that many of us carry within us. It is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. That's why I say we are the greatest multitaskers. To adapt in the face of adversity and to emerge stronger. Today we have harnessed this resilience, not just as individuals, but as a collective force to change, for the change and for the greatest multifunctional person. Women in leadership positions play a crucial role in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. Leadership is not solely about authority, but influence, advocacy, and the ability to inspire change. When women lead, they bring unique perspectives and experiences that challenge the status quo. We must strive for gender parity within our institutions, ensuring that women occupy decision-making spaces where policies are created and implemented. Our voices matter, and when amplified in leadership role, they can reshape the narratives surrounding gender-based violence. We're not saying give us preferential treatment, we're saying give us an equal playing ground so that the best can emerge. And I can assure you, when that is done, the women will emerge the best. We live in a time when the conversation around gender equality and women's rights is finally gaining momentum. However, the road ahead is fraught with obstacles. Legislative frameworks may exist, but the enforcement of these laws often lacks the commitment necessary for meaningful change. Judicial systems can be slow to respond, leaving victims without the protection and justice they deserve. Here, the leadership of women judges is pivotal. As interpreters of the law, we have the power to ensure that legislation serves its purpose, protecting the vulnerable and holding perpetrators accountable. The Chief Justice just mentioned a very pathetic case that is yet to be brought before the law. And it's something that is bothering her in her mind. Justice delayed, they say, is justice denied. Mentorship plays a vital role in this journey. We have the responsibility to nurture and guide the next generation of female leaders. By sharing our experiences and creating networks of support, we can help young women navigate their careers in the judiciary and beyond. It's essential that we foster environments where they feel empowered to speak out against injustice and take up leadership roles unapologetically. Sexual exploitations in workplaces. We must create an avenue where the victims can cry out. One of the programs of the IAWJ was a program called Sextortion, and it's still ongoing, and it is a fight against where a superior, particularly, is seeking for sexual favors against, from a subordinate that cannot say no. Where in Nigeria we'll say the oga at the top is oppressing the young pretty girl for sexual favors so that he can give her a little overtime, so that he can allow her to do extra work so that she can earn a little extra. It's extortion. Because she cannot say no to him because she needs the job. It's about time we're able to speak out, because you have leaders, women leaders in positions of leadership and authority that can help you fight that cause. So we must give the younger generation the face to be able to approach us, to be able to complain when things like this are happening. Otherwise, we would never know because we are august at the top. Collectively, we must advocate for systemic change. This involves not only enhancing legal protection for victims of gender-based violence, but also addressing the social norms and cultural attitudes that perpetuate such violence. This is where resilience becomes a communal effort. Together, we can foster a culture of zero tolerance towards violence in all of its forms. We must not say that the old man that raped the young girl, okay, marry her. It doesn't solve the problem. If he's a rapist, he's a rapist. He needs to be dealt with. So furthermore, our work must extend beyond the courtroom. We must engage with communities, raise awareness, and educate both men and women about the importance of equality and respect. We must challenge the stereotypes and stigmas that allow such violence to persist, ensuring that all members of society are active participants in this fight. It's not just good enough for us to hold conferences for women alone. We need to educate the men on what it is that we are discussing. I'm so proud of the President of South Africa for his choice of these two very powerful women. Because with them in the positions that they are holding, I can see a better future for the younger generation, especially those in the justice sector. But not only that, in the whole of society. Because if you have a leadership role and you have a leader that portrays what it is to be a leader, then others will imbibe it. So, Your Excellency, the association appreciates you. I appreciate you. And I'm sure the women in South Africa appreciate you as well. So in conclusion, let us embrace our resilience and use it to fuel our passion for justice. Together as women in leadership, judges, and advocates, we can create a world free of gender-based violence and femicide. We have the power to inspire change, to influence policy, and to elevate the lives of countless women who are counting on us to break the silence and demand justice. The time for action is now. Let us stand united, resolute in our commitment to create a brighter, safer future for all women. So before I take my seat, I want to personally and on behalf of the board of the IAWJ express our profound gratitude to the government and people of South Africa for not only their physical support, but also for their financial support towards the success of this conference. We thank you very much. And also all those support partners that have made it possible, very visible to me, is the Tourism Commission. We appreciate all of you. Thank you very much, and God bless. I should just leave it standing. Please do a roll call. Before I take my seat, it's my responsibility to do a roll call of nations that are present here, Your Excellency, so that you can note it. I'm sure you are wondering why you are having all these arrays of colors, but you will know why. You will see it in a moment. Yes? The first is we recognize former judges, female judges of Afghanistan that are now in diaspora. They are here and Your Excellency, it is very important that we recognize, it is very important that we acknowledge this group of judges because the IAWJ was responsible in helping in their evacuation from Afghanistan, and they are now in various countries adopted by the various jurisdictions of other countries. I think the first other country will be Argentina. Yes. The next country, Australia. Then we have Bahamas. We have Benin. Botswana. Brazil. Canada. Chinese Taipei. Côte d'Ivoire. Democratic Republic of Congo. Dominican Republic. Ecuador. Gabon. Germany. Ghana. Guyana. Haiti. Ireland. Italy. Jamaica. Malawi. Maldives. The Maldives. Mali. Mexico. The Kingdom of Morocco. Namibia. Netherlands. New Zealand. I'll take a breather. Nigeria. Thank you. That's why I did it. Okay, all right, Nigeria. It's okay, Nigeria. That's why I needed to take a breather, Your Excellency. You can now see why. Papua New Guinea. The Philippines. Okay, thank you very much, Tess. Thank you. Poland. St. Lucia. Samoa. Senegal. Solomon Islands. Another breather. South Africa. Okay, it's all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. South Korea. Spain. Tanzania. Timor. Timor. Tonga. Trinidad and Tobago. Tunisia. Uganda. Ukraine. United Kingdom. Finally, not the least, United States of America. Your Excellency, we are very proud of those countries that have, even if it's just one representative, it is the effort that makes the difference. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Wow, we are well represented, and thank you to Justice Benja for acknowledging all the countries here. Kenya, is Kenya here? Kenya! Ladies and gentlemen, we've already heard about the Zambia. Zimbabwe. Angola. The DRC, we did mention the DRC, but we can mention them again. Democratic Republic of Congo. You are all most welcome. Mozambique. We've heard about the dynamic leader of an important ministry, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Ms. Mameloko Kubai, and she has served in multiple ministries, ladies and gentlemen, multiple portfolios, including human settlements, tourism, science and technology, communications and energy. She was also Minister of Health during the turbulent time of COVID-19. So it's my pleasure to call upon the honorable, beautiful, intelligent, radiant, vibrant Minister. Hello, Minister.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Maybe let me start by saying, in South Africa, when we greet and we are women gathered, we start by saying, Malibongwe! Malibongwe! Thank you very much. To those who do not understand, it is a Zulu name where we are actually saying, we salute the name of women. Program Director, Justice Leon Valerie Teron of the Constitutional Court of South Africa. Let me acknowledge His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, Chief Justice of South Africa, Justice Maya, Chief Justice Binda Nyako, the President of the Federal High Court, Abuja Federal Capital, Nigeria, who is the IAWJ President. Acknowledgement of the President of the African Court, Justice Imani. Acknowledgement of the Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Refilwe Mutsweni-Tsipane. Acknowledgement of the IAWJ South African Chapter President, Judge President Poyo Dlwati. Chief Justices, Judges, Magistrates, distinguished guests, good morning. Let me first start by thanking the visionary leadership of Chief Justice Maya and Judge President Poyo Dlwati and the entire collective, who in 2023 took a very courageous decision to bid for South Africa to host the 17th Biennial Conference of the International Association of Women Judges. Their determination and commitment to the cause was shown when they were not willing to see this hosting of this conference fail in their hands. It is this type of leadership that gives hope not only to our country, but to the entirety of our continent. My gratitude as well goes to the IAWJ for showing faith in South Africa to host this flagship conference. This year marks 70 years since the adoption of the Freedom Charter in 1955 in South Africa. During the dark days of apartheid, the Freedom Charter optimistically proclaimed the People's Declaration that said, South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white, and that no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of all the people. It also contained, among others, clauses that said all shall be equal before the law and all shall enjoy equal human rights. As we celebrate our Freedom Month, our democracy has made significant strides to ensure that the vision of the Freedom Charter becomes a reality, especially to ensure that all in our country enjoy human rights and that their rights are protected. We gathered in this conference to engage in deliberations under the theme, Resilience, Women in Leadership to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. The theme is a recognition that the rights of women in society are under threat from perpetrators of gender-based violence and femicide. International Association of Women Judges is an important platform to help uproot gender bias and discriminatory laws, advance gender-responsive courts, and promote human rights for all. The hosting of the conference in South Africa is very significant as it reflects our clear commitment to global solidarity and the sacred principles that gender justice knows no borders. The discussion, which will range from matters relating to workplace safety for judges, human trafficking, how to end the pandemic of femicide, the role of artificial intelligence, technology, cyber violence, and climate change and climate justice are timely. They will help us formulate solutions on protecting human rights in a changed and changing world. This year, ladies and gentlemen, also marks 30 years since the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action on an Agenda for Women's Empowerment and key global policy document on gender equality by 189 countries. The document says the following, amongst other many things. In addressing violence against women, governments and other actors should promote an active and visible policy of mainstreaming a gender perspective in all policies and programs, so that before decisions are taken, an analysis may be made on their effects on women and men respectively. For our part, as South Africa, we've done a lot, especially with the President leading the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. And we continue to do this work. It is in this context that as the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, we will be looking forward to the outcomes of this conference as we want to understand how the judiciary is going to contribute in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. But most importantly, how the world sees this pandemic as the President has called it. The world needs ideas to assist in defeating the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide once and for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored today to be joined by our President in this important gathering, whose visionary leadership has steered the South African ship in most difficult times. And under his leadership, we have seen the rise of women in most critical positions, especially in the judiciary, as you would have seen here, and many others. And also when we look at various sectors across our country, we've seen the rise of many women in critical position, not just tokenism, but more meaningful in decision-making processes. It was also during the height of the pandemic, COVID-19, that the President declared gender-based violence and femicide a second pandemic and rallied the nation to fighting this pandemic and working together as he launched the action plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the one who is here to deliver a keynote address, but I'm happy to welcome and request you to rise and with a resounding welcome, clapping of the hands, welcome His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and a champion of women's rights.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Program Director, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development of the Republic of South Africa, other ministers from South Africa who are here present, the Chief Justice, Mandisa Maya, who leads our highest court in our country, and Justice Binda, you said we should call you by your first name. And let me rise on the protocols that have already been pronounced, for there are too many presidents present here. And there are too many Chief Justices as well. Chief Justice, it is quite possible that you and I will be respondents in a case that might be launched about the holding of this conference. I'll probably be respondent number 1 and you will be number 2, because I cancelled the cabinet meeting of the Republic of South Africa to come here. So, my dear Chief Justice, as you know, we live in a litigious society where anyone can take anyone, the President, and now including the Chief Justice, may be taken to court, and you will have to give evidence in an affidavit and possibly in person as to why you had the cabinet meeting cancelled so that the President can come here. As you were all being asked to stand up to show the various countries that are represented here, I started asking myself whether I'm in a room with judges or with people who have come to a carnival. And what became prominent in my head, I said, why would judges come to a meeting with flags, their country's flags? But it is such a joy, it's such a pleasure to see you all here. And as South Africa, I join our justices who are here and the South African chapter of the International Association of Women Judges in thanking you for coming and in recognizing South Africa and having it being chosen as the host country. So we are humbled and thank you very much for coming. It is for me indeed a pleasure to be here and to address your conference whose theme is resilience, women in leadership, to end gender-based violence and femicide. And for me, without being presumptuous, I would have liked to have suggested a slight addition or amendment to your theme and say that the theme should really be women and men in leadership to end gender-based violence. I say so advisedly because there was a time when a woman leader of a women's organization once said to me, we don't need men in our struggle against gender-based violence. And I said, my dearest sister, it is us men who are perpetrators, who are violators of women's rights, who must lead this fight against gender-based violence. And indeed, I stand firm on that because women suffer at the hands of men in many ways than one, and we therefore should lead in this task because the task of ending gender-based violence and femicide should not be seen as the responsibility or the burden of women alone. It should also involve men. And men, as I said, should be in the leadership of this struggle. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. And signatories to this historic agreement were enjoined to domesticate in their own countries' laws, its principles, the commitments that were set out, and the goals, and also to translate those principles and objectives into concrete national actions that would be taken to empower women. South Africa, like many of the countries represented in the International Association of Women Judges, is a signatory to the Beijing Declaration. The impact of this landmark document has been profound and far-reaching in shaping our own country's policies and practices around gender equality. I remember very well when the women of our country came back from Beijing, and they started articulating what the conference or summit in Beijing had declared. And as they mentioned Beijing, just that mere mention just drove terror in the hearts of many men, because they then felt that the women have now arrived. And we saw and continue to see this document as outlining a comprehensive agenda for addressing key challenges that women face in areas like health, in education, economic participation, cultural practices, and societal and political representation and leadership representation in various endeavors. We understood that gender-based violence affects women and girls, and the impacts of GBV are quite profound, including physical injury that is inflicted on women, long-term mental health, even death at times, or mostly. It is patently clear that gender-based violence also contributes to other wider social issues, such as perpetuating cycles of poverty and inequality. We know that gender-based violence doesn't in itself happen in a vacuum. It is the result of complex societal, cultural, and structural factors, some of which are the unequal power dynamics between men and women, cultural norms and practices, unemployment even, and conflict and wars. But we also find, more importantly, patriarchy. This right that men have, that they can dominate women. Furthermore, there is economic violence that is committed against women, where they are prevented from accessing financial services or resources and achieving their own independence, thereby condemning them to poverty and total inequality. Now, given all this, we had to embark on a number of efforts to combat gender-based violence. And believe you me, we have not yet unearthed all the efforts, all the initiatives that we need to master to combat gender-based violence. But this conference is but one of the many efforts that I am hopeful will enable us to do so. But we had to embark on a number of efforts, including legal reforms, public awareness campaigns, support services for survivors, and initiatives aimed at challenging societal attitudes around gender roles and power dynamics, We haven't in any way achieved all these, but these are some of the efforts and initiatives that we have to embark upon and have been making some attempt to embark upon them. We set ourselves the task of reviewing in our own country existing laws and developing new policy frameworks to promote gender equality and to ensure that these were matched by the necessary resources. In the post-Beijing years, we passed progressive legislation such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Maintenance Act, the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, and others. But the cornerstone of the reform process, of course, in our case, is our Constitution, with its promise of equality and human rights for all. South Africa's legal trajectory has been much like that of other countries with respect to legislative reforms in support of gender equality in the wake of Beijing. And I must say that Beijing was really an important moment for many countries around the world because it unleashed a number of processes that have now been going on for years, including various reforms and initiatives. Arguably, our experiences have also been similar to those of other countries in terms of varied as well as uneven impact of these reforms. And the Chief Justice spoke very painfully about some of our own shortcomings as a country. Gender-based violence continues unabated in our own country and across the world, even in countries with progressive laws advancing gender equality. And at the time when the whole world was having to deal with COVID-19, as you have already heard, I described gender-based violence as the second pandemic our country had to deal with in terms of its scale, its impact, and systemic nature. It was at that time when it reared its ugly head more prominently, in that as we had all these measures to contain COVID-19, people were movement were restricted and they stayed at home. And it was then that we realized that a second pandemic had truly arisen in a much more vociferous manner. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 3 women or girls have experienced physical or sexual violence at least once in their lifetime. Now, this is a terrible indictment against us as the men of this world. Much like a disease outbreak, the impacts of gender-based violence are long-lasting and severe. Much like a pandemic, it is contagious in that gender-based violence has become normalized and is being repeated across generations. In giving effect to the laws in place to combat gender-based violence, our courts have also had to address the factors that allow gender-based violence and femicide to become entrenched. Much like there are vectors for diseases, there are gender-based violence and femicide vectors, such as the culture of silence, impunity, and insufficient or poorly applied laws. With respect to applying the law fairly, in the cases of gender-based violence, the composition of the bench matters, particularly with respect to outlook. Of course, what one cannot go by perception or assumption. One can have progressive and reform-minded male jurists as much as one can have conservative, anti-reform female jurists. Yet we strive to ensure there is greater female representation on the bench because it is a transformational imperative. Now, as South Africa, we have come a long way from a time when the bench had only 3 black male judges during and towards the end of the apartheid era, what Americans call apartheid, what we call apartheid. And we didn't have a single black woman on the bench. Today, approximately 48% of judges in our superior court are female. Now, in my book, that is great progress. And of course, because we want parity, I want 50 and more percentage to be women. And I argue this because I think in our own country, as it is in many other countries, women are in the majority. And so therefore, we should feel that weight of that representation, even in various other sectors or various other bodies. And 6 out of our 15 superior courts are led by women, including, now listen carefully, including our constitutional court, which is the highest court in the country. Now, you've been applauding as Chief Justice Mandisa. Maya has been called Chief Justice and all that. Yes, the president in the end appoints, but I was very clear from the beginning, not only because she's a woman, but because she's a capable and outstanding judge. Now, as I had to meet her towards the end, once the process had gone on, she asked me a question. President, have you read my judgments? She's very sharp, you see. She wanted to know whether I was just ticking boxes and all that. And in a way, she was also testing my own judgment and intelligence. She's very, very, very sharp. I said, yes, and she said, which one? Which one was the most outstanding? So I shouldn't say that, one, I'll have tea or lunch or dinner with a judge, but I'll sit her down one day and tell her my full comments on her judgments. But it's been a real joy for us to also have the head of the Supreme Court of Appeal as a woman in our own country. And we have spread it out as well in the legislature of our country, the Speaker, as well as the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justice Binder of our National Assembly, and our Senate, the Council of Provinces, are women. And that for us is a joy. And at the level of the magistracy, more than half of our magistrates are women as well. Now, as female jurists, you have particularly strong influence and can shift the broader judicial culture with respect to gender-based violence and femicide. I know this is front of mind and center in the work of the International Association of Women Judges work. Your advocacy has resulted in commendable progress in areas such as improving courtroom procedure to make them more survivor-centric, and streamlining the procedures for obtaining protection orders against male perpetrators. A central issue is overcoming the blind spots in the law and the legal system that are working against the rights and interests of survivors. For the fight against gender-based violence to be strengthened and have a measurable and sustainable impact, it is critical that these deficiencies are addressed to bring about even further change. As South Africa, we have recent experience with this. I last addressed you, I think, in 2022, which was the year that we passed a trio of laws to strengthen the legal framework and offer a greater protection to survivors. Allow me to briefly sketch some context. 3 years prior, in 2019, we had convened the first presidential summit on gender-based violence and femicide. And this had happened because we were responding to the alarming rise in violence directed against women and children. And the women of our country, through various organizations and formations, decided that enough was enough. They embarked on a march and a sit-in at the seat of government where I work at the union buildings. And one thought that this was just one of those marches, because we have many marches nearly every day. So I just heard that they had marched to the union buildings, and I said, no, that's fine. Somebody will receive their memorandum at the union buildings. And late at night, at 9 p.m., I get a call from one of the ministers saying, President, the women of South Africa are here. And they say they are not leaving until you come and receive their memorandum. And I said, it's 9 o'clock. They don't want to go home. And I was told that they say, no, they are going to sleep here at the union buildings. And something told me that this would be very bad. And it was getting to winter. So I didn't have to get out of my pajamas. I don't sleep that early. I got my security detail to take me to the union buildings. And indeed, I met a number of women who made it clear that we've come here, and if you were not going to come, we were going to sleep here. And they handed over their memorandum. This led to us responding as government and me leading that whole process of the response. And we then conceptualized the holding of the Presidential Summit on Gender-Based Violence. It was a historic summit that brought together officials, policymakers, activists, and civil society organizations to develop a clear, comprehensive, and response to gender-based violence and femicide. The outcome was the adoption of what we call the National Strategic Plan, which is centered around a number of 6 pillars, really, one of which is strengthening the criminal justice system and offering greater protection to survivors. There was an overwhelming consensus at the summit that the laws of the land were not protecting women and children from abuse and violence effectively. Suspected, accused of serious violent crimes against women were being granted bail and were absconding and were continuing to re-offend. Courts were not applying prescribed minimum sentencing laws for crimes like rape, and serious offenders were receiving light sentences. Survivors of domestic violence were experiencing secondary victimization by the police and the courts. And it became clear there was a contradiction at play, with strong laws to advance women's rights on one hand and stubbornly high levels of gender-based violence on the other hand. It then became necessary to examine whether the issue was with survivors not achieving justice through our courts, while lack of implementation of the law, or with deficiencies in the laws themselves. Now, through these factors, all played a role. Gaps in the law were identified as a serious challenge, contributing to uneven application. This was found to be widespread across the judicial system, from the magistracy to the lower as well as higher courts. So in 2022, following an extensive public consultation process, we amended 3 existing laws as part of the wider effort to combat gender-based violence and femicide. Amendments were made to the criminal law, sexual offenses and related matters, to introduce a new category of sexual intimidation, and to expand the scope of the National Register for Sexual Offenders. The Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Law was amended to regulate the granting and cancellation of bail, to regulate sentences for offenses committed against vulnerable persons, as well as to advance the right of complainants to participate in parole proceedings. Lastly, the Domestic Violence Act was also amended to expand the existing definitions of domestic violence and to enable survivors to apply for protection orders online and not having to get a lawyer and then get a protection order. Now, in response to these amendments, our Department of Justice and Constitutional Development was tasked with developing regulations to facilitate their implementation. This work is ongoing. Just last month, regulations were passed to give effect to the amendments to the domestic violence legislation. Now, closing the gaps and loopholes is also in the best interest of our courts, providing clarity and promoting consistency in the application of the law. This, as we know, is particularly important when it comes to the issuing or denying of bail and to sentencing itself. Inasmuch as the courts are enjoined to dispense justice with neither fear nor favor, we are all familiar with the famous legal maxim: not only must justice be done, but it must be seen to be done. Now, in the context of gender equality, and within the context of high levels of gender-based violence, more specifically, what do we mean? It means laws cannot just be written, they must be enforced. It means that perpetrators must be held accountable, and that the sentences they are given should reflect the seriousness of their crimes. When judicial discretion is exercised in a prescribed minimum sentencing regime, the reasons for departure must indeed be substantial, but also very compelling. It means fairness, and this doesn't only apply to an accused's right for a fair trial. It should also apply to fair treatment of survivors of gender-based violence by our courts, and that they should not be subject to bias and victim blaming as well. Here, one also includes the requirement in some jurisdictions that testimony from child victims and complainants in sexual offenses be treated with caution. Now, South Africa abolished the cautionary rule in 1998 in a case called State versus Jackson, with the court ruling that it was based on false assumptions about the reliability of women's testimony and was no longer appropriate to modern law. However, several countries still have versions of this rule, including on our own continent. The advocacy of female jurists, as well as the International Association of Women Judges, must be brought to bear in this regard, because the cautionary rule, as applied to female complainants in sexual offenses cases, runs contrary to a commitment to fight gender-based violence and femicide. It runs contrary to that. So, that justice must be seen to be done is therefore critical in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. When women and girls who have experienced gender-based violence have confidence and have trust in the legal system, they are more likely to report these crimes and to assert their rights. The Chief Justice said, some of the cases, the horrendous cases that are reported, are not the only ones. There are many more. And people fear, or victims fear, to come forward because they at times think that justice will not be seen to be done. So therefore, attending to this will enable many more to come through. And the Me Too movement will then grow by leaps and bounds and will ensure that perpetrators retreat. Fostering confidence in our courts and in the rule of law is key, and the International Association of Women Judges stands at a unique intersection of leadership, of advocacy, and jurisprudence. It is your organization that is a catalyst for change. As women judges, your lived experiences provide insights into the realities behind the cases, and you have the power to reshape how the law is interpreted, as you are interpreters of the law, and how justice is dispensed and delivered, and how society evolves and changes. This conference is an opportunity, therefore, to sharpen our collective commitment to laws that heal, courts that should transform, and to systems that should center humanity and the respect for women. In addition to utilizing the law, we need to also embark on many other efforts to combat gender-based violence and femicide, and have a multifaceted approach that will include education and spreading awareness about the importance of gender equality from a young age. Justice Binder, you also spoke about an issue that we don't talk about much, sextortion. You raised the issue quite strongly, and this is an issue that I feel very strongly about. When I see my male counterparts using extortion against women, and particularly young women, in the workplace, and expecting them to give them favors so that they can rise up the ladder. This is something that needs to be talked about. Light needs to be shed on this. There is nothing as demeaning as a big oga, as you say, a man who is in a senior position, requiring and demanding sex from a younger subordinate so that they may rise, so that they may get better pay, so that they may be better treated. And we do need to shed light on this so that the women can feel confident to come forward. In some cases, even women who are in business at times say, even as we go to either do deals or to apply for finance, the men that we encounter who are in influential and key decision-making positions always pull us aside and want favors from us. This must stop. And I say this advisedly because this is something that is practiced by men, and it is in the dark corners of boardrooms, it is in the dark corners of offices where men who are in senior positions use their power, and the power dynamics issue comes to the fore, where they believe that they have power over women, and this is where patriarchy also manifests itself. So this is something that has to be addressed, and more light should be shed on this. We must make men and boys part of the conversation to prevent gender-based violence, but also to prevent sextortion. We should also, as a society, insist that women should speak out, and women should have more control over their own lives and economic independence, which will reduce their vulnerability to violence and to being demeaned. I wish you well in your deliberations. I'm sure that the carnival effect will come to an end, and you are now going to settle down and have serious decisions. And I look forward to the outcome of your conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Ramaphosa. Thank you for your commitment to the IAWJ, and we commit to working with the government to end this femicide. Our gracious host, ladies and gentlemen, is the JP of KZN and the president of the South African chapter of the Association of Women Judges. Now, if you have been welcomed here with warmth, with abundance, with joy, you're going to give her a resounding welcome when she comes up. And if you want to expect more, the welcome is going to be the most raucous of the morning. So please, will you welcome the president of the South African chapter of the IAWJ, and the first woman to be appointed as judge president in KZN. And under whose leadership was she appointed? Please tell me. Yes.
I almost went to the other podium. I thought the presidents are speaking from that podium. Program Director, Justice Leona Valerie Theron, my sister from KZN, Justice of the Constitutional Court. Thank you for such a gracious introduction and welcome. Allow me to stand on the protocol that has already been observed. But I have to recognize His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, as well as the Chief Justice, our very own, the first woman Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa. I always like to call out her names, Justice Mandisa Muriel Lindelwa Maya. Mr. President, I don't have any difficulty in constituting a full court to hear this matter from Cabinet. And I will ask whoever will be sitting in that court to give an extempore judgment. And I will ensure that the justices of the Supreme Court of Appeal, particularly those that I saw, Justice Mchumi, Khwele, Nichols, they ensure that the petition goes quickly. And then I will ensure that Justice Mhlantla and Justice Theron deal with the leave in the Constitutional Court. I stand before you with a deep sense of privilege, honor, and humility to express on behalf of my colleagues in the South African chapter of the International Association of Women Judges, particularly the leadership of my Deputy President, as well as the Judge President of Mpumalanga Division of the High Court, Judge President Sheila Mphahlele, the entire executive, the membership of the SAC IAWJ, the Chief Justice of the Republic, the President of IAWJ, and all participants at this conference, to express our sincere gratitude to you, His Excellency the President, for your presence today. We are truly thankful that you have taken time from your numerous responsibilities to join us today and partake in this occasion. You have mentioned you had to move the cabinet meeting to ensure that you are here. I read somewhere this week that you know how much you matter to someone when you give them your time. And now we know how much we matter to you. Your Excellency, in July 2024, you made history and you nominated and appointed in September 2024 the first woman Chief Justice of the Republic, Chief Justice Maya. This marked a significant turning point for gender equality within the judiciary and our nation as a whole. Your decision to appoint Chief Justice Maya demonstrates your recognition of women's capability, preparedness, and suitability to hold positions of authority within the country, and for that, we salute you. Your address has highlighted the significant role of women in the judiciary and emphasized key points that we ought to take note of. Your words have established a solid foundation and will undoubtedly inspire our forthcoming discussions. You have set the bar high and the tone very well for this conference. I was specifically inspired by your emphasis on men being at the forefront of fighting the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. I was also quite impressed by calling out for men to stop seeking sexual favors from women at any level. And we hope that they are listening wherever they are. I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation also, Your Excellency, to you on behalf of government of South Africa. I want to particularly mention the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Minister Kubai, DG Mashabane, and I must mention Mr. Silo Shilwane, who has been running back and forth. Thank you very much for your support. We know that it emanated from the meeting that the Chief Justice had with you, with the Minister of Finance, and the Chief Justice told me that the minister said it will happen, it will not be cancelled. Thank you so much. Indeed, we are led in South Africa by our Chief Justice. In April 2023, after it had been planted in the chapter by the former presidents of the SAC IAWJ, including Justice Hwele, Justice Muchumi, and Advocate Maluleke, that at some point we must host this IAWJ conference. Time was moving, and we had to submit a bid in Morocco if we needed to host. Then I was the deputy president to the Chief Justice, and I wrote a message. You know, when you write a message with the hope that the receiver will say, it's okay, you don't have to do it. So I sent a message to the Chief Justice because we literally had about 3 weeks left. And I said, DCJ, President, are we still going to bid for that conference? I was hoping not. And she said, of course, yes, we have to do it. And we thought, but in 3 weeks, how are we going to do it? We put together a successful bid, and when we got to Morocco, our flight was delayed. We were from a previous night. You know how you feel when you had not bathed. We got off the plane, ran into the hotel because time was running. The board sitting here does not play when it comes to the business of the IAWJ. They said you have to present, you have so many minutes. One person is allowed in the room. We didn't plan that one person was going to be allowed. We thought the whole delegation, and we're going to intimidate them and sing and do all sorts of things. But they said one person, and that person, we all agreed, Ms. Anthea Ramos, the regional magistrate, presented a bid that saw the board nodding. And thank you, President Binta and the board, for having allowed us the opportunity to host this conference. Thank you, Chief Justice Maya, for your resilient leadership to ensure that we host this conference. Thank you to you and your office, represented by the Acting Secretary General and all your support staff, in ensuring that we have a smooth conference. In isiXhosa Mahadebe, I say, sibamba ngazibini nangamso. To the board, I hope we have surpassed your expectations. On the 3rd of February 2025, we had a planning committee meeting. It was the first time that we're going to be joined by the board of the IAWJ. I am not a prophet, but I know they came to say, we are canceling this meeting because you have not shown us the sponsorship that you're going to raise. We don't have numbers, whatever. It was as if we had whispered to each other with the CJ and later with President Binta. We said, not under our leadership. They set the budget at 5 and at most at 600 people will come. I said to them, I serve a faithful God. We will get to 600 and we will have more. What do we have today? More than 850. Allow me to also express my gratitude to all the speakers this morning. Thank you for your insightful presentations. And they have set a tone to all the other panelists who have generously agreed to share their expertise and experience with us. We look forward to those insightful presentations and thought-provoking discussions that will illuminate critical issues and offer us valuable perspectives in addressing our theme, Resilience, Women in Leadership to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. To all my colleagues in South Africa and globally, I express my deepest gratitude for your unwavering dedication to justice and equality. Your presence here today stands as a testament to your strength and resilience. It is inspiring to witness so many women leaders from around the globe uniting to address challenges, but also celebrate the achievements of women in the judiciary. A special thank you must go to the executive of SACA IAWJ, as well as the Biennial Planning Committee. Thank you for the sleepless nights, for your efforts, your commitment and dedication to the chapter. The world will be a better place if we had more of you. I must also thank our sponsors who generously contributed to the success of this conference. I've mentioned them and the CJ have mentioned. I will not mention them in the interest of time, but obviously I must mention the South African tourism. Thank you to Ms. Nina Frazen Pretorius and her entire team from the conference company for their hard work and assistance in ensuring that we host our first IAWJ conference successfully. I know there was a lot of back and forth, and we might have exchanged words and pressures raised and everything, but I promise you tonight, I'll get you a nice cup of chamomile tea. Program Director, Justice Theron, we chose you for a reason, and you have not disappointed. Thank you, Sisi. Honorable President, ungadinwa nangomso, ndo alivua. Thank you so much. Thank you for honoring our occasion and continue making history in South Africa, particularly in the judiciary. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, you've honored us, you've honored all of us today. The President has kindly agreed to take a family photo with us. So I'm going to invite all our delegates on stage. There are 6 seats that are empty in the front for you to take up the places there. I'm going to ask Justice Mhlantla to come to the front row as well. The third row is empty. Can some of the delegates from South Africa at the back please come into the third row so we don't have any gaps in the front? Please.
have my tripod?
This
Who will
one?
inform me? Everybody over here! Let's get it! Almost gonna put off for you now.
Nee, dat is fijn. Dat is fijn. Ik wil je helpen. Ik ben net zeggen dat ik moet doen. Dus ja, happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as the President of the Republic of South Africa leaves, and give him another round of applause for honoring us with his presence. Not yet. Oh, okay, sorry, he's still taking photos. He's very generous with his time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as the President of South Africa leaves us, and we will be entertained by the choir from the University of Cape Town, my goddaughters in the choir, so please recognize the most beautiful one, the one with the voice of an angel. So see if you can recognize my goddaughter. Please come. And of course, their maestro, the talented, beautiful, vivacious Karen. And their songs are going to give us a bit of taste of the history of South Africa. And we're going to some of the slave tradition, the music of the Kaapse Klopse, and it will take us to the slave time. And I'm handing over now to the choir. You ready? Please.
Good morning everyone. Hello. Should I wait for them? Okay. So the first song that we'll be singing is called Shosholoza. This is a song that was sung by the miners and railway workers during apartheid. The song right now signifies a deeper meaning for South Africans. It represents hopes and resilience. This song is in Ndebele and has been sung during apartheid by Nelson Mandela and everyone that was in Robben Island. And now we see this song as our second national anthem. Please enjoy Shosholoza.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Our next song is Meadowlands. This song was sung at Sharpeville Strike in 1956 when the people of Sophia Town were forcibly removed and were placed in Meadowlands. There's an ambiguous tone to this song. It's a cheerful song. However, the message was to the people that were forcefully removing them was that we do not want to go to Meadowlands. Please enjoy the song. Thank you.
So during this period of strife and frustration, a song was created somewhere else in the world. A song that created harmony and brought hope to everyone. What a wonderful world.
Skies of blue.
The song that they are starting there has been made famous by someone who is highly renowned, Miriam Makeba, with the click song.
Our next song. Our next song is Baba Yetu. It's in Swahili. And it is the Lord's Prayer.
tunachohitaji utusamehe makosa yetu, kama nasi tunavyowasamehe
waliotukosea, situtie katika majaribu, lakini utuokoe na yule muovu we milele. Utupe leo chakula chetu tunachohitaji, utusamehe makosa yetu kama nasi tunavyowasamehe waliotukosea, situtie katika majaribu, lakini utuokoe na yule muovu we milele.
The choir from the University of Cape Town, ladies and gentlemen. the choir of the University of Cape Town. Come here. The choir from the University of Cape Town. Please, ladies and gentlemen, you can do much better than that. Come, come, come. And my beautiful goddaughter, Chelsea. Thank you, thank you. And one more time for Maestro Karen. They say, yeah. Dynamite comes in small packages, Maestro Karen. And now, a special treat, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't planned quite this way, but I always believe things happen as they should. We have, please come onto the stage and join me, dancers from the Buyelekaya Community Development Center.
Welcome to
ladies and gentlemen, local group from Khayelitsha. Please give them another warm applause. I'm out of breath just watching them, just watching. They were fantastic. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few announcements. The speakers for tomorrow's plenary sessions are reminded to please upload your PowerPoint presentation if you have not done so yet. We are going to have lunch in the ballroom. The regional meetings will start at 2 o'clock. The African and Sub-Saharan group will be here. You'll see in the program where the other venues are. For those who want to learn how to dance, like these professionals here, on Thursday, after the conference, there'll be a Learn to Dance session, $20 a person. I'm collecting. And if you are interested, please speak to Anthea Ramos. Where's Anthea? Anthea? There's Anthea on the top if you're interested in coming for dance lessons. I'll be cheaper. I'll do the South African style. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had an excellent, excellent start to the conference. Let's keep the energy levels at where it was. Let us all be committed over the next few days. I know there's the attraction of shopping and stuff. There is time. In the afternoon, there's time between the sessions and the evening, and Thursday evening we're free. Waterfront closes late, everybody. So the shops will still be there. Let us commit to what we came here to achieve. Let us stand as champions for justice, champions for equality. Let's create the better world the choir sang. Each one of us can make a difference. We occupy positions of influence. Let us, through our work, make change possible. You know, they say change must start with each one of us. So let change start with us. And let us use this time to create that better world that we all strive for. So what remains for me is to thank you all for being such a glorious audience. I just want to carry on, but I know you all want to have lunch. So ladies and gentlemen, the session is closed. Thank you once again to our Chief Justice and to JP for whatever you see today, it's under their leadership. So give them a round of thanks, please. And you're all dismissed for now. Thank you.